And welcome to The Activist, our live stream podcast, streaming on platforms across America, across the world. We're streaming everywhere. So you can be catching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter/Periscope. We've got an awesome show today. I've got three incredible guests: Hayden Byerly from The Fosters, the stars of The Fosters. And I got a mother-daughter team, Elizabeth and Isabella Blake Thomas, teenage actress, and her mother's a well-known director. And we are going to dive into the world, the coronavirus era, the pandemic era, how we're all dealing with it, and the generational view, and what everybody on my show is doing to try to make a difference. It's The Activist. We're back. Hey guys, we got some interesting backdrops. It's all a work in progress. All right. So now, but I was saying to all you before the show, I like the authentic raw feel of this. So, we're not trying to be CNN or Fox News here. We're doing our own thing. So underneath me on your screen is Hayden Byerly. Hey, Hayden. Hayden is Jude on The Fosters. A lot of you, especially teenagers, big fans because he's got a massive Instagram following who hopefully is all watching this right now, and has a very cool nonprofit, which we'll talk about, called Hayden's Hope Totes. Totes like little tote bags, which is basically spreading love to foster youth everywhere. We'll get to that. Hayden, thanks for being here. Love having you. And up above in the right, it's like we're having like a WWE boxing because WWE's gone now forever. So we do it this way. On the left is Elizabeth Blake Thomas. She's the mom of the two, in case you're wondering. She's the director of I know, right? In case you both look very young. Unseen, which was a true story about child trafficking, and won best short film at, if I get this right, at the, what was it at Threat?
The Film Threat Awards.
Right. And she's a well-known director, a creative director. We'll get into that. Has done a number of films, and it's launching a project called Project Phoenix, which is a really cool thing she's going to tell you about to help out of work actors, directors, crew people, helping the entertainment industry. She also, along with her daughter, to the right of her, Isabella Blake Thomas, who you guys might know from Once Upon a Time. That's your probably biggest role, right? On Once Upon a Time?
That's my most well-known role to date. I mean, actually, though, they haven't seen it yet.
Who's going to tell them about it?
I was going to talk about. There's other things as well, but and this is Chai. But this is.
All right, you guys, get closer to that mic.
Oh wait,
we've got them in our ear.
Oh, perfect. Okay, now I can hear you better. You were fading out a little. So Isabella, both, and I want to talk about your new project, but Isabella and Elizabeth are both ambassadors to a nonprofit which is all about creating awareness. It's called Awareness Ties. And Isabella is the suicide awareness ambassador, and Elizabeth is the child trafficking ambassador.
Correct.
Which is great. We'll talk about all that. And finally, last list of credits, Isabella's got a big thing coming out. You are right. Disney Plus is sort of launching the promos and trailers or whatever today for your new movie, which you play Princess January in, right?
I do. It's called Secret Society of Second-Born Royals. It's a Disney Plus original movie, and they just released the poster today.
Awesome. Congratulations. Happiness.
Hell yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Let's dive right in, guys.
Cool.
So, Hayden, first of all, by the way, you don't look 19.
Do I not? Do I look younger?
No.
Oh.
It's not an offensive thing. I'm like twice your age.
We got the compliment.
23. You look a little older in a good way.
Well, that's good. I've been growing my hair out. I've been trying to look a little bit older. I was talking to someone for a while now. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Am I right?
Yeah.
A little bit
sure. I'll take it. I'll say that. Yeah, I'll start telling people that.
Is it coronavirus hair and coronavirus moustache? Because a lot of people are just growing everything out.
Yeah, it is. It's just because we're not going outside. I mean, we're staying indoors. I don't really care right now. It's just me and my fam.
So what do you guys think about this? So here's the deal. I'm shooting up above Hermosa Beach, a beautiful view of the ocean, the deserted beach. It's a massive, multi-mile, giant, wide, empty beach. No one can go out. No one can go on the beach. No one can go in the water. I get that what happened was, people were like, we need to stay inside. We need to shelter in place. We need to kind of protect the whole community. But as time's passed, and I want to kind of get the generational perspective
I'll
here.
tell you where they all are, Rob.
Where are they?
They were on the street. They were driving along. So,
Yes.
I've just come from Redondo. So that I've been on my boat self-isolating. And I come and see Isabella every couple of weeks because she's actually nannying and tutoring for someone to help them out because they lost their tutor because they had to go back to the UK. So I had to just drive here now. Streets are busy. Roads are busy. I'm like, am I the only one self-isolating? It was surreal.
Well, and I think what I want to kind of get at is how we look at this from a generational point of view. I'll start with me. I actually think I get it, but I think intuitively a lot of people feel like they're aware this probably isn't going to hurt them. So a lot of people were doing it because some people were scared of getting it. A lot of people were like, I don't want to give it to somebody else, somebody old, somebody sick. And increasingly people are sort of chafing. Like you said, Elizabeth, they want to get out. They want to get in their cars. They want to go on the beach. Every single pathway is closed. So if you're rich or you're famous or you're a politician or you have a lot of money, you can afford to kind of shelter in place comfortably. But if you're millions of other people, you feel like the walls are closing in and they ain't opening up, right? So I get that people are at the end of their things, but I'm curious how each of you personally sort of feels about it, both in your own lives and Isabella and Hayden from a generational point of view, because you guys are both under 20. So you're looking at this, and no person alive has ever seen anything like this. So that's a given, but it's got to be different for you than for, say, me and Elizabeth, who are a teeny bit older than you.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I think I forget how much going outside is useful in your day-to-day life. I mean, just going to see friends, being able to walk down to a coffee shop, it's so crucial to your everyday life that when you're stuck inside, you start realizing how much you miss the outside world.
Right. You don't get
Scientific
a lot of sun,
study.
you're very light-skinned.
Yeah, no, exactly. She doesn't get much sun.
Hale, you need to get your daughter outside.
I
Hayden,
keep her in a cupboard.
Scientific studies actually show that it takes about 12 hugs a day in order to actually have emotional growth and wellness.
Really?
So social. It's a scientific study that they did.
12 hugs a day?
The hug should last
12.
20 seconds. The hug should last 20 seconds so that it slows your heartbeat down.
Okay, so
Right.
we're not getting that. What's happening to us?
Yeah.
Well, so that's the emotional and social connection that we're looking for with a lot of people. So if that's not happening, then emotionally, I think people are going to start isolating themselves, distancing themselves. The number one cause of any type of death on a stranded island is always isolation and depression. People can't handle being alone by themselves for that long. So it's just really crazy to me to think that it's kind of illegal for some people to almost leave their houses. I mean, police are starting to fine people for going places and doing normal things, and I don't think that that's okay. To be honest,
I think
because
talking about the mental health, though, that mental health issue is huge. I mean, you just did a video for Awareness Ties, didn't you? I was just
thinking about that. So essentially, for me, I did a video the other day, and I started with, I'm not going to sit here and give facts, because we all know the basic important facts that you're not supposed to be with groups of people because otherwise you're spreading the virus and we don't know if you're a carrier, etc., etc. So I just spoke about the mental health aspect of it, because when we're all stuck, like you're saying, on our own, it just starts getting so lonely. And I'm an only child, so I'm not someone that gets lonely or anything like that, but I've started to realize how even when you're with 3 or 4 people, because those are the people you're isolated with, you can get lonely. And so I was saying that to people, even if they don't know me personally, please reach out, because it's a really tough time and it's okay for it to be difficult, because it's tough for everyone.
So let me ask you guys something. So Hayden and Isabella, you're both talking about a mental health thing here. And Isabella, you do suicide awareness. I'm a person who deals with a lot of depression in my life. I always have. My younger brother committed suicide 5 years ago. So suicide's not something I'm unfamiliar with, nor is depression. Isolation is hard. I'm not an extrovert, like I need to be surrounded by people. But as a person who deals with depression already, isolation makes the walls close in even more. If that's happening to people who already struggle with depression, it's also happening to people who are normally more healthy around it, right, Hayden? What you're kind of getting at, and Isabella, I'm sure they're seeing increasing numbers on the suicide lines. Are we causing more damage in some ways? Like, I know we want to protect people from the disease, but how many people are going to end up, literally jumping off a bridge?
Well, and that's the big argument, isn't it? I think that's what everyone's saying, because the other thing that people are suffering from that's going to lead to those mental issues are the fact that they can't afford to pay the bills.
Right.
They can't afford to pay their rent. They can't afford to go and get meals. I mean, this is the area that actually might, cause more deaths, ironically. So I think it's a very fine line.
Right.
Again, like I said, I think also just taking away people's freedom. I mean, I think that that's almost just a basic right to be able to go where you want to go and do the things that you want to do. And I just don't really understand how you can take that away from someone. I don't know. That's just kind of crazy to me.
Okay. So, all right. So I want to push in on all these points. And by the way, you're watching The Activist. We are, just as a sidebar, we are streaming on a bunch of platforms. We're streaming on Lookout Entertainment, my producing partners in this show. We're streaming on Rob Nelson Live on Facebook. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Hayden's Instagram, Hayden Byerly's Instagram and Twitter, on my Twitter. We're all over the map with this stream, and I want you all to check us out. And if you like what you're seeing, please, this is my pitch to come follow me on my social at Rob Nelson Live, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want, and stick with it. I have another podcast that is all about politics, and this, The Activist, to kind of is my interactive, like, let's get people talking. So that's the little pitch to get viewers out there to join in. Please follow. We want to build a community on this. But what you guys were saying, Hayden and Elizabeth and Isabella, Hayden in particular, I want to get from you guys the uncensored kind of thing. Because right now it seems like if you say this isn't okay, you're viewed as like somehow you're bad.
Okay, well, actually, and I'll go with the opposite of that.
Okay.
I actually think it's okay. So, I'm listening to Hayden and I'm understanding it and I'm understanding what he's saying. I'm okay with being told you need to stay in your house.
You are.
But that's because I live a lifestyle that allows me to be comfortable. I live on a boat. Right. So I save my money. I live a very frugal life anyway. I actually needed this time out and you're saying this is uncensored. I'm uncensoring it, so people might disagree with me. I actually needed this time out to be in a space, to bring myself back to being grounded, because I spend the entire time running from one thing to the next. I'm building the next movie. I'm working on the next project. I'm feeling the stress of, I have an nearly 18-year-old who, I know, sorry, who, not yet, you've got 17 and a half, who, still needs me. And I'm constantly worrying and thinking. And just for a few weeks, I've actually had a break.
So Elizabeth, you are unquestionably in a very unique camp.
Yeah, I know.
Of people. Hey, Bruce, can I see Elizabeth for a sec? Thank you. Elizabeth, Bruce is running the ship behind the scenes. Elizabeth, you are in a unique position. And people may hear that and be like, oh, F you. But I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that is a tiny number of people who are lucky enough to feel blessed by I've had other people say that to me, like they're actually, this is
but let me also just say them, because this is the right time to bring it up, because of my position. And by the way, a lot of people, when the world was normal, would never live like I live. They wouldn't want to live like I live.
Right.
But right now, because of this fact that I'm in a stable position, and by the way, I'm not sitting here with millions of dollars or anything. I live on a 34-foot boat. But I've known that I could look after myself if something like this happened for a year. And that's what I planned for. But it meant that I missed out on a lot of other stuff. However, what I've set up now, which is important for this, is Project Phoenix, because I know that there are a lot of people that are needing that support and help, freelancers in the creative industry. So I've set this up with a co-pro with Seed and Spark crowdfunding to raise money. I'm not taking a single penny from the fund, so that I can employ 350 people at least. And I'm putting that over 8 features. And the reason I'm doing that is because I am in a mental space that is able to say, I know what's going on. I can put myself in a position that can help other people. And that's what I can do, and be empathetic with everybody.
And I think that's awesome. And it's Project Phoenix. And I think it's great. By the way, I'm a believer that any kind of activism for change, whether it's you're trying to help 350 freelancers, or somebody's trying to help 10,000 people, or somebody's literally helping 3 neighbors, it's about community and making a difference. And I really mean that. So thank you for doing it. We'll put up links and stuff and let you talk about how people can check it out. Because I know a lot of people in the entertainment industry right now, they just said that Ellen, which is a huge show, is shooting from home. And most of her crew found out that they didn't even know that they built a set at her house. None of them were told. They went non-union, and all these people are suddenly like, well, wait, what? We're all out of work all of a sudden. So even on big entertainment vehicles, unless you're the star, you're suffering. So thank you, Elizabeth. Hayden.
Definitely.
And I think as well, I'm just going,
Go ahead.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I'm kind of a half and half opinion, where I'm in agreement with Hayden about it's very, very difficult to be alone for so long, especially for people who do live on their own. That's extremely difficult. I'm fortunate enough that I'm with a small family, so I do have people around me. And then on the other side of it, I do agree with you where it's important to be inside, because we are trying to, as they're saying, what is it? It's we're trying to, what is it? Slow the curve?
No, what's the name? The curve. What are we doing with the curve?
Flatten the curve. Thank you. Flatten the curve.
And Isabella. And Hayden, I want to come back to you on this. I keep looping around. We're getting there, through across and down. Isabella, I agree with you to an extent, but what I guess I'm saying is, and I think everybody bought into the idea that we needed to do that. But the reality is that we know this disease is not deadly to a vast majority of the population, particularly younger people. And we know over time we're going to see that. So as young people, I kind of wonder how much, and again, I'm the contrarian here in that I understand, Elizabeth, what you're saying, and Isabella, you too, but I also feel like we're all in a somewhat privileged position. If you are the average American, average family, you're living in more cramped conditions, you have your kids home, you're out of work, you don't have jobs, you have a small business, it may never start up again. Your whole life could be getting ruined right now. And that's scary. And Hayden, you were kind of pushing at that, and before sort of saying, I just feel like maybe this just is too much or isn't right. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, it's like you said, like, not to, I don't know, not to speak illy of it, but like you were talking about, isolation doesn't help anybody with depression and anxiety and other types of mental illnesses and stuff like that. And so, I'm sure you definitely know, like, the number one killer of men under the age of 40 is suicide.
I did not know the number one killer was.
Yeah. The number above that, I'm pretty sure it's
hang on.
Having a heart attack.
The number one killer of men under 40.
Under the age of 40 is suicide. Because
the pressure they are under, and a lot of it happens at Christmas time, doesn't it? Because that's when maybe if they're going to lose a job, they financially can't afford things. And that's you're absolutely right.
So what do we tell? So I want to ask you to give the audience something here, but Hayden, you sort of qualified, you apologize, you don't want to whatever, but my sense is that and don't be, I'm not you're afraid, but don't hesitate. My sense is you're kind of going, I think maybe this has gone too far. I don't want to be an a-hole about it, but like, I don't know this is the best thing for everybody.
I appreciate being warned, and I really appreciate being told what's happening and being informed of the situation. I really appreciate honesty, especially from our government, especially from the people that are supposed to take care of us and kind of trust us. So we're supposed to really trust them in return.
Not happening.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just I don't really feel that. I don't feel that. So I think that should be reciprocated equally, because again, it's not like the law is above the people. It's for the people. It's to protect the people.
Right.
So
do you guys worry, Elizabeth, you maybe as a filmmaker, but Isabella and Hayden, do you guys worry as young people about what could happen going forward? I don't mean with the pandemic. I mean with the degree to which the government now realizes it can kind of control people and track people and, justify kind of an intrusion we've never experienced in our lives. And do you worry about that as young people? Like your whole life could be under surveillance, or you never even think about that?
I watched Edward Snowden, and that stuff always scared the crap out of me, man. I mean, I saw that, and I was like, oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Just so
They've
people
got
know,
everything.
Edward Snowden is the guy who basically leaked that the U.S. government was spying on everybody, and then he ran to Russia because they were going to prosecute him as a traitor. I think the guy was a hero, but he just came out last week in an interview from Russia and said the governments are going to just use this to spy on people. So that worries me. I don't know if it worries you guys as young people or if it worries you, Elizabeth, but I do think there's a generational issue here because I think all four of us would be fine, most likely if we got the virus, and maybe we have because a lot of people don't know they have it. But you two are 100 in the camp of like 100% fine.
Well, I think I'd say for me, talking about like the government, quote unquote, spying with the things, there's always been something in the back of my head that devices are listening to us. I mean, that's why they're always like I actually have a little switch over my camera on my laptop that I can just flick across just because it's my camera there. Like, we download so many apps and we use so many websites in our day-to-day life. Like, who knows what things are on there that we can't control? So it's what can I do for myself? It's not actually there's nothing interesting for someone to listen to if they were listening on my laptop, but who knows? If I'm deciding to watch TV while I'm in the bath, that's not someone I want spying on me watching me in the bath. So I have a little thing covering my camera just because that's the peace of mind.
So you are a little paranoid.
And now, paranoid.
I mean,
Isabella, now I know where
we live in.
Now I know what maybe the voices in my head aren't really me.
Well, I think the difference is it's not about being paranoid. I think we have to take that away because our generation, that's just like this pandemic, it's the new normal. That is just how we live now.
We've lived a different life.
So it's not something that is, this is so abnormal. It's just what we have to do now because we just don't know.
It's a really good point. I was thinking about this the other day. You know, when I was a teenager, 20-something, whatever, you know, even at the beginning of social media, we never had a period where we were, even with less ability to communicate, where we were cut off. You know, no one alive has. I ran into a guy who was, you know, in World War II and the Depression, he was a teenager in the Depression. He's like, never seen anything like this. So it's a different world when I say you're paranoid, it's not an insult. Just because you're paranoid, that's that joke, doesn't mean they're not, you know, watching you. Like, I think we should be a little worried. But what would you tell people, each of you right now, and especially Hayden and Isabella, because you have pretty big social followings. What would you tell people who are sitting out there? And I mean, be really from the heart.
I have no friends.
What's that?
I have no friends. I don't have a huge social
I don't mean it that way, Elizabeth, but I'm saying there's a reason. Because you guys have young followers. And I think a lot of young people are suffering right now. We pay a lot of attention to adults and people losing their businesses. I'm guessing there are a lot of people, 15, 16, 17, 20, 23, who are out there scared, feel alone, don't have the emotional development to know necessarily how to deal with it or who to talk to. And it's got to be scary. And you guys are young influencers and young celebrities. And you both deal with mental health stuff. What would you tell people who might be your followers who are afraid to say something or maybe think they have to act like everything's fine and are deep down terrified and you don't want to be the next person taking that jump?
I will start by saying that I don't think life is never always perfect. Everything is not always going to be okay. And you do need to talk and interact with other people. You do need to vent your frustrations in a healthy way to a particular, you know, trustworthy person. I think it's a really important thing to talk to someone. I mean, I you know, not necessarily maybe always see a therapist, but even just have a close friend or a family member that you can rely on and that you can just be yourself with and really open up to.
Right.
Because I think there's always going to be times in life where it sucks.
Right.
Like, that's life.
So Hayden, before you answer this, Hayden, you have a big Instagram following and some portion of them are watching this right now. And let's say whatever you were to say to that group, what could they all do right now that might help each other? And Isabella and Elizabeth, jump in on this. What could people on social networks do? Like if everybody posted 30 seconds of like how I really feel, would that help? Like, so I
think it's important to not watch the news all the time.
No, I can speak for myself and say that the only I have the news app. The only notifications I get are the very, very important headlines. And in all honesty, I don't check those because they change every 30 seconds.
Right.
I'm not on the news. If something important happened, like when they extend the lockdown date, somebody will tell me, but I on purpose don't look at the news because
Right.
it really does bring you down a lot.
So
Yeah.
Isabella, what would you tell your followers, and you do suicide awareness, what would you say to, and I mean this seriously, it's a big deal to me, the suicide thing, because I feel like so many people do deal with, I didn't know that statistic, but I think there's a lot of lonely, scared people out there. And I think young people are among them, and young people are really active on social, and most of it's not addressing this stuff.
Yes, for me, I'd say just be open, not just with other people, but with yourself. I saw this quote the other day on Instagram. There were actually two quotes. One of them was talking about your improvement in your day-to-day life and saying, hey, this is a great time to improve yourself and work on yourself. And in the first couple of weeks, when we thought this was only going to be 3 weeks, that's a great thought. 3 weeks, work on yourself,
Right.
Great. But then I saw something else that was based on that same quote that said, actually, if you don't come out of this with a new skill or having improved yourself, that's okay, because this is an incredibly tough time.
Right.
And it's all right to sit in your feelings and to deal with them and to work through them. Because if you're suddenly trying to process everything like that and just think, oh, I'm great, then it's not going to help yourself. So I'd say just talk to as many people as you can that you can trust, like you're saying, that's trustworthy, like
Right. That's a good point. So quickly, we've gotten a lot of feedback from people watching the stream. I want to toss a couple quick things out to you guys. One person actually said, by the way, agrees, stop watching the news. He's like, stop watching the news. Another person asked if you guys are all social distancing.
Oh, totally.
Oh, yes.
Completely. Yeah. This is,
when you say totally, Elizabeth, what does that mean? Because you're obviously going out to your daughter. I'm for that, by the way.
No, 2 weeks on my own on the boat. So I've seen her. So let's say I'm here now Friday night. Actually, normally I'd come Saturday morning and I'll leave here Sunday. So all she's done is been in this house.
Oh, I've not left the house.
So she doesn't leave the house.
What about you, Isabella?
I've been in this house for 4.5. This will be 5 weeks this week.
So all I'm doing is seeing her.
You guys are serious.
On boat. Okay. Oh yeah.
Thumbs up. I'm not that good, obviously. Hayden?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not that good. I've left a few times to run errands. I mean, I had a surgery a couple weeks ago, so I was recovering from that and staying inside a lot to begin with. So when Corona really kind of got big in the media and everybody had to stay inside, I was already recovering and inside. So for me, I guess I've technically been social distancing, but I don't like wearing a mask when I go out. I don't.
I do now.
Well, you have to in LA now. But here's the thing, and I move around a little too. Obviously, I'm not at home. I'm doing this podcast in Hermosa Beach, but I also think there's two levels of social distancing. One is clearly keeping distance from people, right? Wearing a mask. The other is what I find the more extreme part is where they're asking everyone to stop doing everything. And that's where I get frustrated. Like, you can't go out on a beach. They say they're giving tickets to people who take a boat out in Marina del Rey in California.
Right.
It's a little absurd. Like, you're telling me if I go out on an ocean in my boat, I'm violating.
Well, yeah, no. Do you know why? Because if you're to have an accident, you're then taking a police vehicle, a fire engine, some form of those emergency care workers, because they're going to have to deal with you instead of somebody else.
Yeah, but I hear you, but I'm not. I think there's we face that in everything in life. And I still think we're asking, forget the boat, that I just saying there, it's the ocean, but you can't go swimming. I think we're getting a little too far, but I'm not 100% practicing social distancing or shelter at home. I am practicing social distancing.
I think there's a difference between social distancing and self-isolating, because right now I'm self-isolating.
You're self-isolating.
I don't need to, well, here's the thing. It's not necessarily, it's a choice, but it's not just a choice. I don't need to go out to the grocery store. We have a system where we order the food. It arrives in a box. We clean it, because you're supposed to soak everything in hot water just to make sure there's no germs. And so we do that. But I haven't left the house, and that is a choice, but it's also not. It's just because I haven't needed to. Versus some people who obviously do need to go to the grocery store, there's the social distancing included, which is staying 6 feet apart, making sure that there aren't more than 10 people in the grocery store at one time.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's okay, because it's not just trying to protect ourselves from the virus. Other people don't know that we don't have it, and we're trying to protect them and stop them from getting it.
Absolutely. What this shows me mostly is I think that conversation we're having is a conversation that's happening across America.
All the time.
It's not an argument. it's a discussion, but
Yeah.
the perspectives are all valid. And there's a lot, everyone's perspective is valid. Your point about, protecting others, it was valid. Hayden's point about keeping people, people want to be able to live, and Elizabeth, your point, like this is a good time for certain people who can afford to. And my point that, hey, I feel like it's important, but most people aren't going to be victims of this disease, particularly young people. And, we're destroying lives on the other end. I think it's all part of a conversation. So let me move on. By the way, I love what you guys are saying. We're getting great feedback. Hayden, before we run out of time, I want to talk a little about what you're doing, because you're working with a group of underserved people that I think also are in a unique challenge right now, which is the foster care system. And you had the show about fosters. You have your group. Tell me a little about the group quickly, and then also how is it with foster kids? Obviously, they're already like a group of people who are vulnerable, more so than most.
Foster kids are heartbreaking to speak to, man. It really kills me a lot of the time, because you hear kids talk about what I consider to be really, really sad stories. And then most of them always finish with something like, yeah, but I'm one of the lucky ones. And it just breaks my heart to hear that after they talk about how they were ripped apart from their sibling and moved around to 20 homes and, went through all this different systems. And it's so crazy to me to think about. When we first started filming The Fosters, they used to bring foster kids onto the set, like randomly, and we would have lunch with them and talk with them for hours. And it was always really sad, man. I mean, I always felt really bad. I feel like foster kids are actually probably some of the strongest people on the planet. I don't think that those kids will be broken by anything in the world, man. I think they can make it through everything.
That's an interesting perspective. So when I say they're vulnerable, you actually kind of go, yes and no, they are, but because they have to develop a certain ability that allows them to survive, and they will.
Yes, and I think that there's a lot of help that's needed along the way, of course. I mean, a lot of them definitely talk about mentors or certain people in their lives that really help them and really challenge them to actually move forward and fight for the next day.
So sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that, it takes finding some, sometimes that's just one person who can really change your life for the better.
And that's what I wanted to actually pick up on. One person to change their life. Your organization is Hayden's Hope Totes. I always have a hard time saying that.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. One, how can people help through that? But also, this would be a good time to put it for each of you. I want to put out a call to action for people. People right now could take Hayden's call. If there is, can anybody who's like a decent human being go be a mentor to a foster kid? Like, there's people out there, even if right now it's through social distancing. Could you connect to a foster kid and talk to him on FaceTime with him? I mean, is that a viable thing a volunteer could do? Go out and make a difference for a foster kid right now?
Absolutely. So HaydensHopeTotes.org is how you could check out more of Hayden's Hope Totes. There's a lot of different ways that you could just communicate with different people. There's also like suicide prevention hotlines that you can also volunteer for and help out with. I know a lot of great ones that do amazing work for people. I also really wanted to talk about, there's this cool new thing with Hayden's Hope Totes actually, where if people want to support it, but you ride in style, we just did a deal with Dusters, the skateboard company. So we have a board on their site. I'm pretty sure it's called Hope. It's Dusters, California. Yep, it's the Hope board. It's super cool. It's a dope design. It's done by, I'm pretty sure it's Mark Miller.
Okay.
Super dope guy. And Nano. They're all really dope people. But it's a super cool board if people skate and like
say you buy
like
the board, what happens? Certain amount goes to the charity?
Absolutely.
A big amount? A big amount?
I'm pretty sure anything that would not be going towards the board, like the actual cost of the board.
Right. So the profits go to the cause.
Right. You get all the profits.
Right. I love that. I can't skateboard to save my life, but but that's okay. Never could. So I'm cool. But I think that's awesome, and people should get it now. And I want to come up and get each of you. But Hayden, if people wanted to do, I got this stuck in my head, this idea that people could be a mentor to like right now, a state from home, you could help. I FaceTime with my 11-year-old nephew, and my sister tells me like they're in Wisconsin in the cold. It makes a difference to them to talk to me like every other day. Who do they reach out to? Can they find that information through Hayden's Hope Totes if they wanted to figure out how to be a mentor? Or is there a place you'd send them?
Absolutely. There's a lot of information there.
So just
Human Rights Campaign. Yeah, or the Human Rights Campaign is a good place.
Okay, great.
Hayden's Hope Totes I've done a lot of different stuff with different charities, and there's a lot of different names plastered across. So honestly,
go there.
Take a look at the website, and there's a lot.
Go to the website, check it out. Isabella.
I was going to talk about awareness.
You can do that.
YouTube project.
Yes, I was going to talk Isabella, awareness. Yes.
Yes.
So what message, what thing could people do to help? And it can be as simple as like, I want to encourage all of you, like you guys, Elizabeth, you too, but I know you're not probably a big Instagrammer. Maybe you are. I could be wrong.
I am actually.
Okay, great. All three of you. But you could do it on Facebook because everybody over 30 still uses Facebook. But each of you would put out a short video, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, just doing from this conversation, just going, hey, had a great conversation. And I want to ask you to like give you, like to give a word of inspiration, like to each, if you'd be open to doing that, like Hayden, to your followers to do, hey, I'm doing a total from the heart IG here. Listen, if you're feeling lonely, scared, whatever, hang in there. Isabella, the same thing to your social, and Elizabeth, because I think messages from people we follow, especially if we look up to them, make a big difference because they think we're all sitting pretty.
Well, actually, no, hold on, I'll just finish. No, I'll say. I actually
Mother wins.
For Project Phoenix, I did my video and I did it on the boat. And I often do little things on the boat because I need people to see how I live so that they understand what I have to. I mean, there are three of us on my tiny 30-foot boat. There's Isabella and myself. And on my tiny, tiny boat, there's not even a bedroom. It's just a V-berth. I sleep on the sofa bed, and I like people to see what I have so that they can have an understanding of what I'm trying to give back and what I do.
Right.
So my message to people is to say, guys, look at what I have. Is nothing, okay? I have nothing, but I still want to give. So my message to all those people that can give is, please can you support? Please can you mentor?
Like you probably have a lot of friends in the industry and whatever, and many of them have resources. So I think it's great for you to, but I want you to do another call out. Like if you can give, if you will. I'm asking, this is my request.
Yes, definitely.
And Hayden, if you and Isabella would do a shout out on your Instagram, more about like reaching out to saying, hey, people look up to you guys who watch you and they think you live perfect lives. And if it's saying, you know what, we all get scared or lonely or whatever, hang in there. And if you need help, call a friend, call this, DM me, whatever. Like,
definitely.
You guys are cool to do that. I'd like that.
But I think as well, regarding putting out that inspiration, my favorite, you kind of touched on it briefly, Hayden, which made me smile, is that one of the sayings I say a lot is, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Because I think, especially in this society, everyone is always pressured to just put on a good face for things. And especially now, it's the time where we don't have to, because everybody is going through what we're going through. Everyone's on lockdown. A lot of people are self-isolating, but everyone's kind of on their own in some way or another. And I think just to re-acknowledge that it is okay to not be okay. And that's all right. And it's saying, hey, we're in that place as well, that it's tough for all of us.
Right.
And it's like you're saying, it's not just saying, hey, we live perfect lives. It's like, hey guys, we're all in this together.
Right.
It's so tough.
So there's Isabella, there's your 30-second IG. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay. And, and I may be a Disney princess, but hey, it's no, but that's what people think. And they look up to people, and, we all have role models and we all look up to people. And I think, Isabella, it's a great point. People think, and look, media has done that for a while, where everybody depicts their best life and nobody wants to depict a bad life because they think everybody else's life is great. But meanwhile, people are having struggles and depicting their life as perfect.
Well, we try and show something real. We're very definite on that. I mean, we came over to LA with, I think it was 6 suitcases. That was it. So we've done everything
5 of which were
we've-
filled with American Girl things.
Yeah, they
Wow.
were.
You guys are
But
living hard.
you know, we've gone through hard things, and what I've always tried to show that this isn't about saying we've gone to an audition and she's become a Disney princess.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
But Elizabeth, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but for the average person, right? Even though you've had struggles and all that, you look at a 17. Are you 17, Isabella?
I'm going to be 18 in September.
18-year-old who's had a lead role on a network television show, who's coming out, as a star of a Disney Plus movie. To the average person, that already puts you in a camp of elitism that's out of touch. And that's why it is important for them to hear, hey, we're all in this together. It's okay. It's okay.
Definitely.
It's okay to hurt. It's okay
like
to,
being honest. I try and make sure that all my social media feeds are honest. Like if I'm posting a photo that has a Snapchat filter, I will very much say, love this Snapchat filter. It's great. But because I'm acknowledging that this is not real life.
right.
I post a lot of stuff that's just me hanging out. Like I posted something on my story the other day wearing no makeup, just a photo of my bathroom mirror being like, hey, my hair looked really nice today. This is my photo.
Okay.
Like
All
it's just
Isabella,
being
sorry, but this is just me being like, whatever. You're 17 to 18. You should be able to post with no makeup, like all the time.
I don't have any.
I don't mean that like I don't mean that like don't be a grown up. I mean like I get
Real? No.
naturally, Hayden too.
Of
Hayden
course you should. Of course
Yeah, I'm not supposed to have makeup on right now.
no makeup.
Is
I
that
don't
it's
even have makeup on.
I know it's okay to post
Yeah.
without makeup all the time. The point is I acknowledge when I'm not wearing it and when I am, because I don't want people thinking that, like right now, I'm wearing makeup because I don't want people thinking that me getting dressed up into my fancy red carpet things with my hair all done up and looking
Is what you
quote, unquote,
normally look
perfect
like.
is what I wake
Right.
up. Like
Hey,
I don't post things
quick-
saying woke up like this because I can guarantee when I wake up with my retainer and my hair all over my face, I don't look like that.
Right. Quick thing, and we're almost wrapping it up here. Do you guys, everyone's in the entertainment industry, is the red carpet over? I mean, is it ever coming back?
It's a blue carpet at the moment, anyway. Yeah, it's a blue carpet because of all the frontline workers.
Do you guys think there'll be premieres and red carpets and all that in the next year?
Tiny. Just the cast
It will
with
be cast.
just cast, and then I think it would be the press, and that would be it.
Yeah, you
And
guys.
even then everyone will be 6 feet apart. Like I don't
6 feet
think
apart, right? That it's gonna be. I mean, I know that still, but a lot of people that's follow celebrity and entertainment. It's a form of connection.
Mm.
Just curious.
100%.
Hayden staring at the ceiling, deep in thought.
Yeah, I'm definitely like contemplating that. I hadn't really thought about that too much.
Your
to be
career's over,
honest with you.
buddy.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm so done. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would definitely affect just so like I know for a fact I was supposed to be filming something this month and it got pushed back, obviously because of the lockdown, the quarantine, for everyone's safety. Which is I definitely agree with that on a set, being around a lot of people for a long period of time. It's not only just exhausting and kind of physically tiring, but I just don't think it's maybe the best setting to be in during a virus kind of outbreak. But I'm not 100% sure as to how everybody would react. I mean, that's
It's
interesting.
a whole new world across the board for
It is.
Yeah,
and
The
in
new
that,
it is.
normal.
A lot's gonna change.
yeah, and in that new normal, I think what you guys are each doing is awesome. I think helping people understand how to step into that new normal is really important. I think providing resources, helping us find a bigger sense of community right now where we are more isolated, and maybe coming out of this, we are like able to find new ways of community. Maybe more people through this can feel connection and feel hope, even in the difficulty,
Definitely.
And I really
And we're
mean
all trying.
that. We're all trying. And I love, Isabel, you said it's okay to not be okay.
Not be okay. And I think as well, my best advice is what I've figured out over the past couple of weeks is trying to keep some level of your previous normalcy, because this is the new normal. And so instead of trying to create something, because our minds are very much like, oh, this is a quote unquote holiday because we're at home and it's slightly weird and we're watching TV all day, which is fun for the first week. But then I don't know if this is the same with other people. I get bored of watching TV. So it's trying to carry over what you previously did to now. And I know people are doing their quarantine workouts and they're trying to keep that level of normality going,
Right,
which is
right.
important because psychologically we need that routine.
We do. And by the way, I'm the first advocate for reopen the gyms. I will stay 10 feet apart from people. I want my gym open, gym and the beach. But hey,
I'm with you on that.
You guys, right, Hayden? We got this. You guys have been awesome guests. We've put up links and stuff to all of your platforms.
Thank you.
But I'll quickly shout them out again. Hayden, it's Hayden's Hope Totes. Hayden's Hope Totes. And you can check the website out. There it is. Hayden's Hope Totes.
Hell yeah.
Elizabeth has got a very cool project called Project Phoenix, helping in the entertainment industry. Check that out. Isabella, in addition to checking out her cool Disney Plus show movie that's coming out, is an ambassador on suicide awareness for Awareness Ties, which is a really awesome thing in time right now. And, I'm using this activist as a platform to try to kind of create a way for more of these things to get out there. And if you want to follow it, follow me. It's at Rob Nelson Live on Instagram, Twitter. Become part of a bigger conversation. You guys are really making a difference. This was a lot of fun for me. I've turned into a total white light here, by the way. Notice how I'm like, I'm like ghosting myself.
Your light's moved around.
Right? It's moved. So thank you guys all for being part of this. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It was so much fun. It was amazing.
And everybody who watched, thank you for watching. Join a conversation. Come on, just start it up. Whatever you're watching on, just start it up with your friends. Take what we said, get it out there. Ask people to make a difference. Reach out, say what you need from people. Tell people how you're feeling.
Find us all on socials. We can all talk because this is a conversation we need to have.
Yeah, I do talk.
So let's do it.
I like to talk.
All right,
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. It's The Activist. I'm Rob Nelson. We'll check you out next week.
Hello.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?